Did you buy the camera gimbal kit from AliExpress? Because I did. And here it is. Now, you would think with 1,000 parts, they'd give you instructions. They don't. Nothing comes with the kit. It comes like this. But they took a lot of pictures of it on the website. So I copied those pictures and I'm going to use them to try to put this together. So if you're ready for what is probably going to be a long video, watch me stumble through it. I really don't know how I'm going to be able to try to do any kind of time stamps because I just got to figure it out as I go. And so this way you won't have to make those mistakes that I'm inevitably going to make here. So let's get started. So I know this so far, and I've got to check if it goes in here or if it goes like this, but I'm pretty sure it goes like this. And I don't know if this is turned this way or this. I got to look at the pictures better, but this servo goes in the U-shaped bracket in here. You know, so it's either here or here. I'll get to that in just a minute. The other servo goes in here on this little kind of a somewhat C-shaped bracket. It goes in like this. So I'm going to try to get the parts assembled and then kind of rotate them around so you can see how they're put together and what orientation the motor shaft is in relation to the part itself. And so that's where the two servos go. And then let's see, with that in here, this piece is connected into here. Is it on a bearing? That's it. It's on a bearing. And so that allows this to pivot this way. And this pivots the entire thing like this on the mounting plate. So here's the plate that mounts to the drone. This is connected to this via this one of these servos, which gives you this type of rotation. And the other servo, ooh, man, I really don't need to lose parts. Oh, goodness. I think I did. Anyway, don't drop stuff because you're going to probably lose bits and pieces of what you seriously, definitely need. Anyway, I'll have to look for that. So the other one goes in here on the bearing to allow this assembly to do this number. So you got this and this. So you got two axes there of movement with those two assemblies. And what would really be nice, oops. Well, actually, I'm sitting there rubbing magnets all over the floor, and it was, I believe, one of those pieces right there. So I think I found all of them. So it's I can't recommend it enough. I've said it before, maybe once or twice, probably not enough, but I definitely recommend just having magnets. If you have anything metal on your bench, to put those on it. Do it at a distance if you do anything that's sensitive to magnets. I have a filing cabinet underneath here, so the front face of that filing cabinet have a bunch of magnets on. And I can't tell you the number of times I've dropped a little tiny screw like this and they stick to one of those magnets on the way down to the floor. So anyway, with that said, let's see if we can't get started off. Where are we at? So let me try to get, I want to try to basically start from this plate and work my way back. So basically, let's do this from the ground up. So we have 4 spacers, nuts, and socket head screws, and those are somewhat short. So I would be willing to bet that they are probably these screws. But let me see. Nope, those are not long enough. So what I'm trying first is the shortest screws, or bolts, or I don't know, whatever you want to call them, in the kit. But I guess you can probably look at it this way. These next longest ones, there'll be 4 of them you'll need to mount, because you got 4 mounting set holes. And then you've got, I probably should have sorted these smaller sets of screws out, so you can kind of be looking at them as we go to have an idea. So on top of these, on the base plate, it shows, and the base plate, I don't believe it matters. I can't see how it could possibly matter which way it turns or which way you're doing whatever. But just on the safe side, let me look at the picture, because a lot of times I might. So we'll start with this orientation here. So from the, oops, see, caught it, magnet to the rescue.
Nope.
Okay, so you see how this is, and the servo is going to mount in here. So you see how this is. Turn it up, facing the bottom, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 8 of these, not the tiny spacers, but 8 of the larger flat spacers. And then you got 2, 4, 5 of these longer spacers. And that'll be some of the last stuff we do. So let's run a spacer on there. Let's grab a nut. And there goes a screw. Oh my gosh. I don't think I'll ever find that screw either. But it just stuck to my thumb. It's like it jumped out there. So just be careful not to get any more stuck to me. This stuff is so tiny. I mean, it's unimaginably small. So I'm just going to suck them up at their furthest, because this is they're slotted, so to make that adjustable, so that I guess you can kind of position it depending. It's I guess it's basically trying to make it somewhat generic. And so here we've got, I'm going to say 4 of the longest socket head screws, bolts, or whatever you want to call them. 4 of the large flat washers or spacers, and 4 of the largest nuts. Not me. I'm not included. I'm the largest nut in this video. So let's see. I don't see where it. Knocking stuff over all over the place. So I don't know. I'll have to see what I can see when I get to it. I mean, that's just a super, super tiny screw. So we got this. And the next thing it shows on the video is one of these star caps, if that's what you want to call it, used. Let me go ahead and just open up these packages. I'm going to open them both. I don't think I need but something out of one of them. But I think what they do is they take these generic servo packs and include them in with their kit. So
Stop.
let me try to get this orientation. Here. And I believe the head of the servo comes out over here. But I think their camera image is reversed. So if I go like this, then this servo is installed in here like this. Okay, so we're gonna go with this, and if it's wrong, then we'll have to take it apart. But it'll be one of the mistakes we make. So here's the servo, right here, and I'm putting it just it's label up. And so on this bracket, it's the C-shaped bracket, and you can see how the base is cut out there. And you see on the bottom where it's a single screw, and this is where the bearing goes. So turn it up like this, where you have the 1, 2, 3, 4 holes on the top. Then we'll take and insert our connection lead. I got a power / direction lead. Get it through there and then kind of work this in like this. So let's get this into place. And that is showing, so that's going to be small screws. Oddly enough, I think it's these. Showing them go through the bottom. Nope, that's too short. So it's going to be, and these are Phillips screws that we'll be using on this. So let's set this to the side right now. So I believe it's going to be the next longer ones in the pack. So let's push that forward. We just barely got enough, I think, to put a nut on the end of that, and it'll be one of the smallest nuts. So you know it's not me, I'm one of the biggest nuts. So let's, okay, let's get another one and another nut. Well, and I apologize. I mean, my fingers just are not suited for little tiny screws and stuff like this. Plus, I'm a little hunched over trying to get to the workbench. Not exactly a comfortable scenario. Wonder if I've gotten any more hate comments. Made a mistake on a knife video, and been catching hate comments from somebody. Or as they make hateful remarks, they claim that they're not hate. It doesn't matter. I don't insult my manhood. It doesn't matter. I am middle aged. I got less days than most, and probably more than a few. And thing about bullying is to just walk away. When I was a kid, them's was fighting words. But now's they not. Doesn't matter. Call me anything, but do not call me late for supper. And obviously, y'all can tell that. So, all right. So anyway, so here, the only one it can be, because it looks like a cross piece. Now, another one of these goes on this servo, but for here, it's showing something like this. And that fits down in there just fine. It's a little overextended. And you've got these 4 holes that have to be these little wood / plastic screws. I mean, they're not really... I don't see where they could be anything else. It's really about the only place I could see that they would go. So let's see if we can get this centered. And I'll kind of give you a better look at what I'm doing here. And, oops, wrong. There we go. I think it might have been one of these right there that I dropped on the floor, which is why it's, probably going to stay there. Hopefully there's one extra of everything. They used to do that because they knew there was people like me in the world. And so they'd always give you like one. Actually, back in the day, it was several screws, nuts, and bolts extra because they knew there was people like me in the world. But now, I guess it's too expensive. And so people like me can't drop as many nuts and bolts and screws on the ground and get away with it. So let's cinch that up. I don't think there really needs to be a lot of torque put on this because I'm kind of believing there should be a head screw that goes through this into that shaft. It should be one of them. And I think I may have just done this backwards. I think I did. I'm not thinking if I did, I'm going to just reverse something else. And I did. So this is like no fear. Tidy Cat is here. Just undo and put these back in the other way. And I'll explain what all I am getting at here in just a second. Let's flip-flop them around. And again, just fast forward through me getting these screws in place. Thought I was going to drop a nut there for a minute. I think I know why AliExpress ships these unassembled. Because no one will put them together in China. They can't find anybody willing to assemble these. So they sell them to you for 15 cents cheaper, and you buy them, or I buy them, because they're cheaper. And then you learn a new language as you put them together. I mean, just imagine that. The easiest way in the world to learn a new language is to assemble one of these gimbals. See, I made a rhyme. I was a poet and I didn't know it. So, okay, so if you're still fast forwarding, stop. I know you can't hear me, but stop fast forwarding because I'm fixing to explain what's going on here. Finished cinching these up because I was doing that when I realized I was a goober. Of course, it's easy for me to realize I'm a goober. Just look in the mirror. So, what it is on these are servo arms. You just mount them like this to the servo. So you got a larger hole on this side that mounts to the servo shaft, and a screw that goes in here on this side to lock it down to the shaft. And then you hook whatever wire or whatever to these to actuate whatever flap or whatever you're going to actuate. Be anything. Or you can just cut all these off and then there's your hour hand on the clock. I mean, it's just however you want to use it. But see, I put it in here like this, of course. And so this is the side the servo is going to go on. And I had these screws pointing out this way. So you want this installed where the screw goes down in the same direction where your mounting screws are sticking out. I hope that makes sense. So here you go. This is where the servo goes in. Come up. There you go. So we've got that assembly and we've got this assembly. So on this, and let me do something here real quick because I think this is going to help me in the long run. To just tie this lead off so it's not flapping around and I end up spilling more bits and pieces of this 1,000-piece puzzle set onto my floor, which is, no, I'm never going to find it. So there is a minor spline to this shaft, and in here that's got a minor spline, a small spline to it. And so just find those splines, push it in, and then I can barely rotate that. I think it's, or I can, it's not hard. It's not a complicated servo or a high torque servo. So one of the screws, set that in the top. Now this stuff like this is not pictured, but I mean, it's how this stuff goes together. So it's got to be. And then that way you have it mounted. And so now we have one axis. So just imagine here's your drone and you're mounted to your drone. So now you have a, what would that be? A horizontal axis. So you have that movement going on. So let's turn it now with, so you have this side, let's turn it where we have the 4 holes up. And let's see how we're doing the next piece. So I gotta check out a couple of videos here. I'm not videos, but pictures to see both sides. So that's gonna be those smaller ones. Okay, so what it's showing me now, and let me see the orientation of the servo itself. So we've got this plate in here, and then the servo is, okay, so here's what we got. On this plate, you have this orientation, and this servo is hanging out in here like this. So if that helps you, and we're gonna go over this some more, because I have more that has to be done here, and so we're gonna have to kind of flip flop a little bit, because I need to assemble this part onto the drone. Sorry, onto the servo, and let's go ahead and tidy up these wires so they can hopefully not get too much in the way. Oh, still recording. Okay. Looks like we're almost at 30 minutes. Goodness. So, all right. So, this part, let me take a look at that assembly. So this part is up in relation to this, where you have the 4 holes. This part is up this way, and the servo is, the shaft is mounted to this side. So this is going to set like this, out this way. So, or more or less like that. So for this part, we need these and these larger ones. So let's start with the large one. Now this is the cap that ends up there. So the larger ones, we'll need 4 of these. And, well, I'll tell you what, this is aggravating, because I know I don't got extra ones on that. Tell you what, Butterfingers is me. Me is Butterfingers. As soon as I get this put together, I'm barefooted right now. So as soon as I get this put together, I promise you, the first thing I will do is find the screw I dropped on the floor. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. So here's the little the smallest Phillips screws that's in the kit. We'll go through the longest, through this back shaft, or this plate, through the longest spacer, and we'll mount it to one of these. Comes out, and let's get one of the tiniest. One of the tiniest. If I've done anything, I've convinced you not to buy one of these, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so these have just a little bit of flex to them. Not a whole lot, but just a little. And I think that's just basically shock absorption. So let's try to get that one through. Get a little nut on there. Now I'm going to loosen this up, because I'm again going to stretch this out to the fullest extent that it will go. and kind of explain why in just a minute. Because what you'll have to keep in mind is this part may or may not, don't set it in stone, because there's some stuff that depends on the size of your camera. So let's get these two down here. Get two more of these screws. Oh my goodness, again. All these hairs, you think an old man's in here. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, that's an extra. Or maybe it's not extra, I don't know. But here we go. Let's try to get these stabbed. And I'll give you a better look at this to hopefully do a better job of explaining what all I'm fighting with right here. It's just so small, there's no way I can give you a look at it to see what I'm doing. Y'all know I can't walk and chew bubble gum, and here I am trying to talk and mess with these little itsy bitsy tiny, itsy bitsy teeny weeny bikini. There we go. Hold on. Almost. Come on. Don't fly away. Okay. Whew. Once you get these screwed in, do not ever take them all the way loose. Leave them forever in there. So what we have here now is, and it's just as goober gollied as I don't know what, but hey, it just depends on your camera. So this is the mounting bracket for the camera. So you got these four little nuts. You got these four of the longest spacers. So to give you a visual, that works right there. It's already turned right. You've got the large flat, large, and the little small spacers. And so keep in mind, those are the sizes that I've been referring to. Now we need these four will be for the camera. And so let me take a quick look. So it is a single, yep, sure is. And so those are socket heads. So that's where these right here will go. I think if they'll fit in that deal, they won't fit in there, so they can't be those. But they are socket heads. I think they're supposed to fit in there, but they're not. I don't know. Let me look at that again, make sure. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you know I'm a goober. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong one. Never mind. Don't worry about those yet. So we got more of these. So these will go through the camera circuit board or however you're mounting it. You'll have two of these tiny ones on there. So you'll have this through the camera circuit board, if that's what you get, or come up with a different mounting method depending on what camera you've got. Because I think we can adapt any camera that we want to. And so this goes to the circuit board, then you have these two here as standoffs. And then it goes in here. And then we put, oh goodness, a small, nut. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, so it's showing it like this to where this is through the circuit board. I think this may have been what I just said. Then you have the spacers behind the circuit board, and then it comes in here. Yeah, and that's what I was doing. So the only thing is the here's the platform, the two spacers, and then the circuit board is between there and the head of the screw. So let's go ahead and get that kind of cinched down. And hopefully I'm not missing any steps, and this is just as clear as mud if I'm lucky. And then we will get there. We are slowly running out of parts. We must be down to about 2,500, maybe even 1,000 parts now. We got it going on like Donkey Kong. Okay, so here we go. I'm not going to bother straightening all this up because I really don't care how straight it is, or I probably do, but I'm just going to, hold on a minute. Okay, so there, it's straighter. So to kind of give you an idea of what this piece looks like, you've got the large spacers behind here. You have the two-piece camera mount with the 4 screws, spacers, and the circuit board would be mounted out here. And then you have the C-shaped bracket that holds the servo. So at this point, and see, we had to get these screws mounted in here inside this C shape to get this servo right here installed. To be honest with you, I really don't think that it would matter how you did the servo, but I'm going to mount it like this. And if it needs to be changed, it needs to be changed, but it just seems like I've got more, because I would be coming here and working this way. I guess it's about what and what, because, well, no. Yeah, see, because this servo right here, the shaft is closer to this end, and if I take this servo, I think I should turn it around. And if I turn it around this way, then how is that? So if I come in here, it hits. I get all the room in the world. If I turn it around and go this way, then I'm here, and I get pretty good. Yeah, so I think I'm going to put it in like this. So here's the orientation that I'm going to use. And you may have to force some of these parts in, because they're not necessarily going to just fit snug as a bug in a rug. But let's kind of get that up. And that comes up pretty well flush, or close to flush, with the screws in the back here. So again, this orientation right here, you have this shape. Okay, so we're going to turn it over like that. Then I have this piece, and I'm checking the monitor. So turn it over. I have the shaft here towards me, and as you can see, the shaft on this servo is away from me. And so now I'm going to take and see about mounting these in here. So here's what we have. So when I do this part right here, I've got all of this space flip-flapping around. And what I need is one of these. Just a servo arm. And I'm going to pop it onto that shaft, which is, like I said, it's got a somewhat of a spline on it. And we've got that. But then again, you know I'm a goober. Look, if y'all don't remember how goober I am, I'm just letting you know, reminding you that sometimes I cut the grass and I forget to put gas in the mower. And then I can't figure out why it won't start. Because I'm a goober. Let's go ahead and bolt this down. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So, which end do I need? If I remember right, we're turning the nut on the side of the servo. So, okay, so got a little bit of torque-aronomus on that. Let's get this one pushed in there. So I ain't too far from done. And so I think we do have extras on some of these parts, but not all of them. Okay, so now we have it mounted in place. So one thing, okay, so we got to do this. And this is what I was kind of thinking about in the back of my, so that's my biggest problem. I'm doing something and I'm thinking about something. That's why I can't walk, talk, and chew bubblegum at the same time, because I'm not just doing something. I can't stop thinking about the next step that I've got to do, or that I think I got to do. And so I end up messing up on where I'm at. Let me see something. Me get my little control screwdriver, because I need to really put this screw in straight across and not at an angle like that was trying to do there. I don't know how hard this is going to be to secure that. My little control screwdriver, use that on PLCs. Them little screws on the PLCs. So here we go. We're going to try to get this in here. So what I've got to do is, the bearing is going to mount on this bottom section, and that just helps give it a pivot on the bottom. It's not really mounted to anything, it's just mounted to the bottom of this bracket. It's not mounted to the servo. Of course, there's no other brackets to mount it to. And I take a screw and run it through there to screw it into the bottom of this bracket. So that's the bottom mounting. I'm going to do that last. But I've got this single arm piece put in, and I had to screw the little plastic screw into it to hold it into place before I get this in here, because once I get this in there, I don't even know if I could get a screwdriver in there. I probably could do it this, but I don't know. But anyway, so here we go. You got the servo here again, this bracket here, and the shaft is away from me, and I got this servo with the shaft towards me. And so now I'm going to try to push it up underneath here and push it into that little spline. And I managed to get it. So we've got it in there. So let's get another one of these screws, put it in here, and we'll go ahead and fix that. So now let's go down to the bottom. So let's turn this, and we've already got some articulation there, but you don't want to end up torquing things. So here we got, and I was, in the beginning, I was like, man, why'd they only give me one screw? Because I only need one screw. Let's see, let me check the picture for that. And it uses a socket head, so I'm assuming it's going to be one of these larger. Yeah, so it's that size. So you've only got 3 sizes in here. You got the large, medium, and small. These are all the same thread. They're all the same socket head. They are only different lengths. So I guess you could say long, medium, short. So one of the short ones goes through the bearing into the bottom of the bracket. And so this right here is just simply going to secure into place. And so that right there has got that bearing, hopefully the race or the inner race, against this right here. And so the bearing just sits in there. So now that's much, much smoother. Now that's about all the movement we've got to that side, and that's about all we got there. So you got more movement to one side than you have to the other. And so conceivably, maybe if I turned it the other way and had both control wires going out that way, I may have more movement. Because I would be on the back of this servo, and this servo would be flipped around, so this right here would set further over here. So I may have more that away, but then I think it would stop there, because this piece would be sticking out here. I think you're going to have restrictions either way, however you do it. So you're going to have some restrictions. And so that's basically the setup. Here we have this piece, and all we have left is these right here. Let me see, because I believe I need 2 of those washers up top. Yes, I do. And I'm not really sure. I don't see anywhere that I need more of these. So it's just these right here. You'll put one here and one here. And this plate, we're going to use these last 2 shorts that we had. I think that might be the ones we need. I don't know. But let's find out. Yep, that was the ones we needed. And so basically that provides a shield to just and maybe help torque that up or shore that up, give it a little strength. Because you got the bearing down here giving the bottom section more strength. And I don't have any more plates or parts. I've just got these 4 pieces here left over. A couple of regular plastic, wood, sheet metal, however you want to put them, screws. And then I've got multiples of these. And so conceivably I could take, so whatever I dropped I didn't need, but I think it was one of these small little tiny wood screws. And that's what those are. They're wood screws. But what you basically use on plastic anyway. And so I got one of them small spacers left over. I got 2 of these short spacers and 1 long spacer, which I thought went in there, but apparently it doesn't. You just have an extra. So they know that we're gonna drop stuff. So they gave us some extras. And you've got a hole here to potentially get to that wood screw underneath the bottom. So you can probably make it to it without too much of a problem. And then maybe not, who knows? But you'd have to have the right screwdriver. This little screw right here, these 2, I don't see anywhere that they would go. I mean, it's just not, there's no more screw holes, brackets, mounting spots. I've got an extra long, an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra mediums. So I would just chalk these up to having extra mounting screws. And these little small ones right here, I don't know. These 3 little mid-ranges, I think they just threw some stuff in there that may or may not be needed. So I'm just going to mount these, put these screws in these nuts, so hopefully I don't lose track. And what I'm thinking is I may need some of these pieces when I go to mount it to the drone. You've got these already, but I may need more. I don't know. So these may just be options for you to be able to use when you go to actually connect it to the drone. And so it looks like each series has a screw, otherwise has extras, like 1 extra, as far as the socket heads. And then on these little bitties right here, there's 1 screw, which, how long is this video? Almost an hour. Goodness. Okay, so I'm being OCD. I can do that later. But so what we've got here, it's a finished product. So this would mount on the drone on the bottom somewhere, the nose, or even on the top, but most likely on the nose. And So your camera is panning up and down. It's doing side to side. You put it on top, then it wouldn't be very usable, in my opinion, on top, because that's all you got that away. And then you're hitting your leads this away, which I may, if the leads were tucked away, even better. You could still get almost 100 degrees. And so, or not 100 degrees, 90 degrees straight forward. And so even mounted underneath, you would have this. And so if I turn this servo the other way, then I couldn't get this forward view, straightforward view on the drone. Because again, like I say, on the back, the other way, you don't get as much movement. And so I'm going to, when I route these wires, come up with some option to keep that flattened out and secure it in place. And that way I can get that forward view easy and even slightly angled up. So I think that gives me more than enough adjustment. And so again, for this assembly, you've got the 2 split plates, spacers on them for your camera mount, spacers, the long spacers in behind, mounted into the small C-shaped bracket that has the servo mounted into it, and you've got a servo arm hard mounted to the frame here with this shield screwed over the top of it. The bottom is the bearing with a screw in it. Then you come back here and you got the other servo that's through the back of the frame, and it is mounted through one of the servo bracket adjustments to that servo with this plate, and here's your mounting screws to the drone. So it seems pretty simple now, and hopefully I'm going to try to zoom in and articulate this in multiple ways, so that hopefully you can see better how it's put together. So let's just do a slow turn, like right here. And so I'm going to try and keep this in one spot so I can just do this as one continuous zoom in. Hopefully the shaking's not too bad. So here we have this. Now I'm going to do a rotation on that axis. Now I'm going to rotate this axis. Now let's rotate it over here. You see it's rotated up, so they're touching there. So you got to be mindful of that in however we got to program this thing. And then here you go with your other axis rotation. And then on the other side of that, you got right there. And of course you're touching on that back side. So I need to kind of look at this more, and if I find that this forward servo should be reversed, and it would probably be easier just to reverse this servo and see if it does any difference. But I mean, that's it. That's basically the gimbal. Or I say gimbal. I mean, I guess it would be considered a gimbal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this and see if I can flip this servo over and bolt it back in. So, I mean, really the video's done. but I want to see, because I don't want to try to go back and make comments and stuff like that. It's better if it's in the video. So if you think it's going to make a difference, keep watching. Otherwise, I appreciate you. I thank you for being here, and I enjoy spending time with you. So let's pull this servo and try to reverse direction. Oh, well, let's put the screwdriver back in. And then we will open here. Oh, birthday cake. It's my birthday and I'll cry if I want to. Cry if I want to. And you would cry too if it happened to you. I wonder if I'd get a copyright strike for singing this song. I hope not. Okay, so I'm going to go in here. Let's pull this and reverse the direction of that servo. And it really is definitely easier to just reverse this servo than it is to try to do the other one. And the other one's like, no, not a good idea. So let's get the old Gerber dime. And put her to some use. Okay, so I'm not going to do a whole lot of whatevers. Yeah, see, so then you have a hardly no rotation that away, and you still have 90 degrees. So whatever orientation that you decide to mount, which I think I'm going to go ahead and have both of these leads coming out the same side, but whatever orientation that you should decide to mount, this right here really is not that big a deal, whether you mount it one way or the other. But as far as these servos in relation to one another, there's no advantage. You're going to have a large travel on one side and none on the other. So this would be picture this being the drone, and it's mounted. And so this would be my preferred orientation, because this would kind of give you a downward shot behind the drone slightly. And this would give you a straightforward shot from the drone, and even allowing for a slight updraft. And so I'm going to do some work on these leads when I get to the mounting phase to hopefully eliminate any pinch or anything. And so I would be able to look slightly back from the drone, straight down from the drone, in any orientation, forward and slightly up from the drone. But then again, that's fine, because you also have this full orientation here. And so you have that same orientation in 360. So it gives you a full ground view, slightly up to all the way straight down. So in our setup or whatever, if we can restrict the movements, a straight down shot would be the limit, maybe slightly tilted back and no more. And then, you know, that you wouldn't want to go there. That would be your main one. You want to look forward behind you, there you go. If you want to look in front of you, just spin it around. So you got full orientation. So I'm going to run this video through basically as is. I mean, I may cut out where I'm searching for stuff on the floor. Try to cut that out so that it's not interrupting. But that's it. It's together. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It's really hard. Be very mindful of your setup location. And I definitely recommend that you would take and do this in an area that you have magnets around. Probably taking and putting felt down and working on top of a felt pad on top of a table would be your best option to keep from losing parts. And I say that back from, you know, from like gunsmithing and stuff. Whenever you're taking somebody's gun apart, you don't want to buy parts. And I've bought a lot of parts for people's guns, because they drop. And obviously you can see I dropped them. And so I found that something like a felt pad, this silicone pad is great for soldering and stuff, but it's very springy when it comes to stuff like this right here. And so this stuff goes to bouncing, it goes to bouncing, and it's bouncing everywhere. So, you know, I'm definitely, I should have had some kind of a felt pad down for this right here. But I really wasn't super upset about losing any kind of screws or anything, because I have some more smaller ones. I have like some kits that I got from AliExpress for stuff like this, because I know me. I know me. And a bunch of tiny screws and me means I have a bunch of tiny screws on the floor. So again, I appreciate you guys. I thank you, and I hope you enjoy this. I hope you get something from it, and I'll see you next time. Your time is very important to me, and I thank you for spending it here with me. Thanks, and God bless.